Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to a brand new video, and one that's slightly different for me. As you probably know, if you've been on this channel for a while, you'll know that I'm pregnant, and so today I thought I would talk all about harvesting colostrum, what it is, why it's important, and also run through a few of the tips that I have picked up along the way that I can hopefully share with you if you are at that stage as well. So that, yeah, fingers crossed it makes it a smooth and pleasant journey for you too. Before I get into this video properly, I just want to say it isn't the easiest by any means at all, so please try not to put any pressure on yourself or stress yourself out, because it really won't help you and it will just make the whole process even harder than it already is. It's also worth bearing in mind as well that not everybody can harvest colostrum. Some people can harvest a little bit, others none at all. It doesn't mean either that you can't breastfeed when the time comes, because whilst obviously it's coming out of your boob, they are two completely separate things, and women that can't harvest colostrum are still able to breastfeed in the majority of the time. Now I've got my little notes that I've written just so that I get it all right, or all in the right order, and say the right types of things and try not to miss anything out. So apologies if you can hear that paper rattling, or if you see me looking down just to double check something. But yeah, I just really wanted to make sure that this video was as informative as it could possibly be, just to help you more than anything. So what is colostrum? So it's called liquid gold, and it is what comes in before your milk. Now this can happen, some people get it really early. I think I started getting it about 25, 26 weeks, and it was just where I had to wear a pad, otherwise it would leak. Others don't get it until closer to their due date. It's entirely normal either way. It's just your body really preparing for birth and looking after a newborn baby. So it is packed full of nutrients and antibodies. It is an infection preventative, helps white blood cells, and also helps to stimulate cell growth as well. So yeah, that is why they call it liquid gold, although let's face it, it's more of a yellow colour the majority of the time. So why is it so good? So it's packed full with double the amount of protein as breast milk, and also has 4 times the amount of zinc as well. It's also lower in fat and sugar, making it easier for a newborn baby to digest in those first few hours. And of course, it strengthens baby's immune system because they're getting all of that goodness from the mum as well. Not only that, but it has a laxative element to it as well, which means that it will aid baby's first bowel movement, and it can also help reduce the chance of jaundice as well. So why might you harvest colostrum, or choose to harvest colostrum? So if baby doesn't want to latch straight away, you can feed the syringes straight into baby's mouth, and they're getting that goodness, they're getting something that's going to help them and feed them and make them feel full to start with, because not every baby wants to latch straight away. There may be latching issues, or just they don't quite fully know what they're doing. They're used to being full all the time, so the thought of them suddenly being hungry is all new to them. And it is highly recommended to give your newborn baby colostrum if you have gestational diabetes like I have. It really helps to regulate their blood sugar, which is what you need, because once I give birth, because of how high it's classed my sugars have been, babies' sugars will likely dip really low, and if they go too low, obviously that's dangerous and they need to bring it back up. So the easiest way to do this is with the colostrum. So yeah, that is why I personally chose to do it, along with the other benefits as well, but definitely that was the main reason why I felt like I had to persevere with it. And as I say, you're passing on all those important nutrients and antibodies and things, all those things that your body has built up over time. You're passing some of that onto your newborn baby, who, let's face it, is very, very delicate in terms of their immune system and things like that. So yeah, anything that I can do to help baby girl, I'm obviously going to do. And the great thing as well, if you have some left over, you can actually use it if baby gets poorly, if they've got a cold or something. You can feed it into their mouths as you would do when they're first born, and it will help to heal them and get them better and fight off the infections. Obviously that's not taken away from any medical advice that doctor's issue if there is a serious problem. Yeah, it's not taken away from medical advice, so obviously please do still seek that medical advice. But the colostrum does help to alleviate some of those symptoms and speed up the recovery process. On to things to remember before you start harvesting your colostrum. First of all, make sure that you have the go-ahead from your midwife, your doctor, your consultant, whoever you're being led by on your maternity journey, because it's really, really important. Harvesting colostrum can actually lead to labour, and obviously if you do this too early, then there's going to be more issues that arise, so do make sure you get that go-ahead first. I personally had the go-ahead from, I think it was the end of 35, beginning of 36 weeks. Most places they say from 37 weeks, but I was given the go-ahead a little bit earlier because originally I was meant to be being induced early, and that has now changed. So yeah, but I have been lucky in the sense that I haven't gone into labour through the colostrum collecting, although I'm now at the stage, as I film this, at 38 weeks pregnant, where I kind of just want to go into labour. It's also important to keep hydrated throughout. This is obviously important anyway in pregnancy, to keep hydrated, but definitely more so during the harvesting of colostrum, which we'll get onto a little bit later. As I mentioned at the beginning, try not to stress about it, and definitely keep relaxed. Being relaxed does really help with being able to get that colostrum out. So yeah, try and stay as relaxed as possible, and definitely don't stress or put any pressure on yourself that you have to get a certain amount out. Obviously this is a big one, and that is to ensure that your hands are clean. You'll be touching sterile syringes and things like that, so you obviously don't want to pass anything on through those to your baby when they have the colostrum. And another big top tip for me is to make sure you're sitting comfortably in a position that you know you can sit in for a little while, because it does take time, and if you're uncomfortable you'll know about it and you'll just not feel as relaxed and able to do what you need to do. The next tip is to don't compare yourself to others. As I said at the beginning of this video, some women get loads. I've been quite fortunate, I've managed to get quite a bit out. Other women that I'm friendly with and talk with in like Facebook groups and stuff have only got a small amount out, maybe like 1 or 2 mil, and some of them haven't been able to get any at all, which has obviously upset them, which I understand, and I completely get that. But just don't compare yourself, because your body is your own, it's doing its own thing, and no amount of comparing is going to change that. And most importantly, before you really get into it, just make sure you listen to your body, because at no point during this process should it hurt. And if it is hurting, it means that you just need to reevaluate and readjust and just try it from a different angle kind of thing. Maybe watch a few more tips videos. There are some great videos on YouTube of midwives and things showing the exact positioning to get the best. I'd highly recommend checking those out. I would have shown you how to do it in this video if I had a prop that I could use, but I've looked around and there's nothing that would be suitable that I could use, so I'm just literally going to talk you through it. But definitely check out those other YouTube videos as well. So on to the main reason why you were probably here, and that is how to harvest your colostrum. Just bear in mind, this isn't a quick and easy thing to do. It's a process, and it takes time and it takes effort, and there are a few steps to do beforehand and during that will hopefully make this process a bit easier for you. So I thought I would use this section as a kind of running through the steps I take to manage to get the colostrum out at the end. I'm now up to doing it 2 times a day, but to start with I only did it once a day in the evening when I knew I'd be at my most relaxed. So try and work out that time when you've got that little bit of time where you can be relaxed and you've got no interruptions. Yeah, just take that time for you to be able to concentrate on doing this. So as I've mentioned a couple times in this video, the first thing you need to do is to get in a relaxed state. So this could be you having a nice shower, you could have a soak in the bath, maybe light some candles, you could put on your favourite film and, you know, watch halfway through before you begin. Anything like that that you can get into your relaxed state of mind is going to work. Before you get settled into your comfy position, I would recommend getting some water. I always have a nice cup full of water right by me. That's 500 mils, and that usually lasts me for the time that I am harvesting. You also probably need a tissue, I would say. I found the first time I didn't have a tissue to hand and I definitely regretted it. So definitely have a tissue nearby, which all will be revealed later down in these steps. And also obviously have your syringe or syringes at hand as well. Personally, I keep them in the little plastic packaging that they come in, so that I'm not wasting a sterile syringe if I don't get anything out on that time. I don't actually open that packet until I can see that first little bit of colostrum and I know that we're going to get something out of my boob. And then yeah, get comfy, relax, enjoy a little bit of your film, read a book, whatever it is that you're doing, just make sure that you stay nice and comfy and relaxed. And then the first thing you want to do is to start off by gently massaging the boob all the way around, not just at the nipple. Although you're thinking probably harvesting colostrum is all about the nipple, it basically isn't. It's nothing to do with the nipple. In theory, your hand doesn't even go anywhere near the nipple other than when you've got the syringe there. You can also do some light stroking movements and some tapping as well. They are said to aid the colostrum because it's almost as if it's telling your body that there's a baby already there. So definitely try those techniques as well. And then after a couple of minutes, you should be able to make a C-type shape with your thumb and finger around your boob in whatever area. It can be anywhere around because you're slowly going to work your way around the boob in theory. As I say, make sure it is further back than your nipple area. You want it quite far up the boob because you're kind of, as you start to gently squeeze down, you're kind of in a sense still massaging it, but you're just trying to push it down, that colostrum down towards the nipple. It might take a few attempts of squeezing before you get anything near the nipple, but you should start to see a little bit appear. It starts off quite small and then I think your body kind of kicks in and knows what you're trying to achieve because suddenly there's a bit more. If it doesn't and you don't see anything after a couple minutes, just go back and repeat that massaging, that tapping and stroking just for a little bit longer, and then go on to the squeezing after that. And then of course, once you see it forming on your nipple, you can then get your syringe out of its packet, or you might decide to keep it out of its packet already, and you can start slowly sucking it up. I would suggest as well, as a top tip, to just with the syringe, once it's out of the packet, just pump it up and down a couple of times, just because they can be a bit stiff to start with, depending on whether it's ones your midwife has got you or whether it's ones that you've bought off of Amazon. Some of them tend to be a little bit stiff to start with, so just bear that in mind. And then yeah, once you've sucked a little bit up, you just need to tap the syringe to make sure the colostrum goes down, because you will see that it will just sit right at the top. But yeah, you just tap it a little bit for it to go down and it will fall down, because obviously it is quite thick, and yeah, it just needs that little bit of help, and then you can go back to squeezing where you should get some more out to be able to suck up again. So essentially it becomes a bit of a pattern of squeezing, sucking, tapping, and then pushing up the syringe once you've got enough, gently pushing I might add, so that you get the air out, whilst also making sure that you don't let the colostrum come out the top. It is a bit of a learning curve, but you will soon get there. You'll see the difference between the air and the colostrum. And I actually use the tissue when it's got the little air bubbles on the top, just to pop them so that I can carry on sucking up the colostrum. And then when you feel like one side is done, or you have got your syringe full, or however much you planned on getting in that particular one, then obviously repeat that process that we've just discussed over on the other boob. Yeah, and then you're good to go. And then all that's left to do when you feel like you're done on both sides is to pop it in a little sandwich bag or something like that and put it in the freezer. And then obviously, as I've got to keep reminding myself, if you do go to the hospital, or if you have a home birth, it's not obviously as bad, but if you do go to the hospital, just remember to take them with your maternity bag and everything when you go into labour, because otherwise your hard work is all left at home in the freezer. And you'll be gutted. I know you will, because I know I will if I forget. So I've got little post-it notes that I've stuck up everywhere reminding me that I need to get them out of the freezer. So there are some other tips as well that I thought I would just quickly run through before the end of this video. I really hope that the step-by-step guide has helped you to understand a bit about how the process works, and hopefully these tips will help you as well. They're things that I just picked up along the way and I thought I would share with you anyway. But yeah, let me know if you found this video useful. So my number one tip is, it is so important to stay hydrated. Personally, I found that when I didn't necessarily drink that much in between, it was a lot harder to get the colostrum out, and I also didn't feel as relaxed either, so that might be to do with it, but it was definitely harder to get that colostrum out when I was a little bit more dehydrated. It's also worth noting as well that the colour will vary. Obviously, yes, it's yellow, but there's varying shades of yellow. First did it, it literally might as well have been gold, and then subsequent days afterwards they've got slightly lighter, still yellow, but definitely some of them are paler than others, and that's completely normal. I did check and that is absolutely fine, that is normal, and you can't expect to have the same consistent colour throughout. And sometimes when you're squeezing, you might squeeze that little bit too, not necessarily hard, but too much, and you get more colostrum than you're actually able to suck up, to the point that it starts dripping down your boob instead of on your nipple. That's mainly what the tissue is for. That's what I use the tissue for, just to soak up any of that excess that has dripped down my boob, because it does end up being sticky and it can be uncomfortable. So yeah, I just literally mop it all up with the tissue, and then I know that on my next squeeze I just need to readjust the pressure that is applied, just to try and alleviate that leakage, because obviously you don't want to waste it. When you're working this hard to collect it, you don't want to waste a single drop. And then my last little tip / advice piece is that you might find that one boob produces more than the other, or that you get more out of than the other, and that's fine, that's normal as well. I personally found this for the first week or so, that my left was easier to get anything out of than my right, and then after about a week or so it kind of balanced out and they're both about equal now, which is obviously good. Even if it isn't balanced out between it, you're getting some out, so it's all good, not to worry and definitely not to stress. But yeah, I really hope that you found this video and the tips that I've included useful. It is a bit of a minefield, and whilst you might get a little bit of help and information from the midwives, I feel like there is so much left unsaid, so hopefully that has filled in a few of the gaps, and I wish you well on your harvesting colostrum journey. And all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye bye.